I've never seen anything like it before, and to attempt to hit the ball out of there is pure madness.
The winner of the gold medal and the champion golfer of the year is Cameron Smith.
This is the one that I've always wanted to win since I was a little kid. So it just feels pretty amazing to be able to get it done today.
It's amazing that it's my destiny to be the first Aussie to win. Just incredible.
Hello and welcome to the teaser for a new show from Golf Australia magazine called Playing from the Tips. My name is Jimmy Emanuel and I'm the Deputy and Digital Editor of Golf Australia and your primary host for this new show. At Golf Australia, we know the importance of professional golf, and a large part of what we do digitally is previewing tournament golf from around the world and giving you all the insights we can as to what's happening, who's playing, and who might win. That remains a focus and passion for our team, but in 2023, we're taking that content in a new direction with Playing from the Tips, an audio product that will replace our written previews on our website, golfaustralia.com.au. Joining me to talk about the new show and new idea is Mr. Golf Podcast himself and one of the regular writers of those previews that everyone has enjoyed and they'll hopefully enjoy more, Rod Morrie.
I'm going to enjoy it more, Jimmy. They are hard work to write. Those previews, good chunk of my Tuesday mornings have been taken up with that, as you well know. So I applaud this decision. I think this will be a really interesting and innovative way to go about looking at tournament previews as opposed to what we have been doing.
As much as it's lightening the load for you and me, it is actually a decision made with the reader, now listener, in mind to give a bit more of an interactive way to keep up to date on tournament golf around the world. We'll have our panel of so-called experts coming through and previewing the events and talking about where they are and what time and TV and players to watch and all those little interesting tidbits. But we'll also just be a bit more lively conversation around it and everyone will find their own little interesting elements, I'm sure.
Who is this rotating panel of so-called experts that you've talked about?
I'm glad you ask, and the so-called is very, very important in that list. That will be you and me, so fortunately or unfortunately for the people listening. Brendan James, the editor of Golf Australia and all-round tipping expert, I'd say, when it comes to golf.
Who we do not hear anywhere near enough from, so this will be a really good thing to bring him out of his cave.
Correct, and you can bait him a little bit to get him excited in
Don't poke the bear.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. Also will be Mark Hayes, my regular tormentor in tipping and life in general, I'd say, who we call our man about golf, who's had many different roles in the golf world, but is a very knowledgeable and sometimes hilarious man.
Raconteur, would you call him?
It's one of the things that we call him. Yeah, sure, absolutely.
It is a family show.
Hazy will be along regularly. Anyone who reads the tipping column currently knows of Hazy's attributes, shall we say, as a tipster, but he does actually know his stuff as well. And then our differently thinking golf man, Adrian Logue, movie reviewer, handicapper, all other things, watch lover, he'll be along as well, and he'll be an interesting one to add to the mix, I think, as well.
You've got to go a long way into left field to sit and have a cup of tea with Logue. That's where he resides, is left field. Honestly, I've been recording podcasts with him for about 3 or 4 years now, maybe more actually, 5 years. And there has not been an episode that at some point I haven't stopped when he said something and thought, where does that come from? He really is a different thinker. I'm really looking forward to, well, we often tease him about not being working media. The rest of us are working media, yeah. Having him parachute into that world is going to be a really interesting addition, I think.
Having travelled with him a lot at tournaments in the last 2 years, his insights and focuses are always quite fascinating. And so he'll be a very valuable addition and another one that just loves golf, which is the important part. We all do, as much as we might complain sometimes about having to work and do these things.
That's right.
And that's where this show, we hope, will go, is a lively and entertaining discussion. You can sit down on the train or in the car on the way to work and catch up on the PGA Tour, DP World Tour, LPGA, PGA Tour and WPGA Tour of Australasia, Live Golf, Asian Tour, and pretty much anything else that comes up that's worth noting.
When you put it like that, it really brings into focus just how much professional golf is played around the world each and every week. It's extraordinary.
And each week there's a tournament that's of real interest. Sometimes 2, sometimes 3, depending on what's happening, which allow us to zone in on probably 1 or 2 events.
There's usually one, isn't there, that stands out that you think that's the one this week to watch. Sometimes it's the Middle East swing of the European Tour, and sometimes it's the desert swing around California on the PGA Tour, and sometimes it's the old PGA when they go to the western coast over there, and they've got all those great courses that they play at. So.
And with the tours, some tours cooperating more now these days, I think you'll get more of those swings and interesting weeks where it's DP World or what used to be European Tour focused, and we look forward to delving into all that sort of stuff. And of course, that so-called expert panel will be tipping players who they think can win, which is, again, we mentioned that column is sometimes quite humorous, but it's also quite successful. I think we tipped 250 odd top 10s last year in 2022. So
we'd have done well on the money list.
We would have done. Yeah, that's right. So we actually do have some idea mixed in with the attempts at Hayes' stand-up comedy. There is actually some value. So that'll be part of things, as I said before, details about golf courses, players to watch, and anything that's just happening around that tour or tournament for the week. There's always something that bubbles up that's of interest.
It's an interesting time to be doing this with Liv and the disruption that they've caused and the concentric circles of flow-on effect, like dropping a stone in a pond. It just keeps going out, the impact that's having each and every week. We saw a field a few weeks ago on the PGA Tour at a tournament that is normally very weak was suddenly extremely strong. That's all to do with how the schedule's changed and these elevated events and where players are now choosing to play. So it's a really interesting time to do this because every week there's something to talk about beyond just the tournaments themselves.
Yeah, and that's where moving from these written products where we've got a structure in place that we need to fill certain details, we can add a bit more colour and interest to what's happening in
You can
golf.
link things between the events and whatnot that you can't really do in that written format where they're each a standalone separate story. So I think it's really innovative. It's very modern too. 2023, if you're not starting a podcast in 2023, are you really trying? I mean, I would say that I own a podcast studio, but you know the point I'm making, don't you?
I would say it's highly innovative in the digital space, and I would say that as the digital editor of Golf Australia magazine, but that's okay.
We would say that.
Yes, that's right.
But I do think there's something to that. You're quite right.
And there will still be the written elements, of course. We're still doing the print magazine every month, and the website will have daily stories going up that will support this preview product, and there'll be links into that from what we talk about each week, and then we'll be wrapping the tournaments, of course, what happens after you've heard all about it on our website, golfaustralia.com.au. But we look forward to the journey in 2023 and how this show morphs and changes and ends up at the end of the year probably completely different than we start.
Episode 80 is going to be very different to episode 1, I would imagine, and it's going to be fun seeing that unfold in between.
Yeah, I think so. I think it'd be great to let the listeners decide what they like, and we love feedback, and that helps shape us. And
both good and bad.
That's right.
Welcome the criticism as well.
Absolutely, and that's helped deliver this new product, which is Playing from the Tips, and which will be hopefully a very enjoyable experience, and we look forward to you joining us on the journey this year.
Get it in your ears every Tuesday.
That's right.